I truly believe that marketing and innovation is the backbone behind any business. And we need to make it to where anytime somebody thinks about real estate in our community, we need to make sure that they are thinking about us.
Yes.
And so it's important who you know, but what's even more important is who knows you.
Hey friends, I'm Rosemary Lewis, your homegirl, and I'm so excited that you are here. I do not care what it looks like on Instagram or HGTV. This whole being a realtor thing is not for the faint at heart. In 2017, I quit my job as a teacher to follow my real estate dreams and quickly found myself overwhelmed and struggling. Fast forward to today. Not only have I been recognized as one of the leaders in our industry, I have actually grown a business that I absolutely love. I don't care if you're a brand new agent trying to figure out how to get started or a veteran feeling overwhelmed and just stuck. I was just like you, and I totally get it. Many times I wish there was someone that I could just talk to about all the challenges I was facing. And that is why I created this space just for you. Like best friends do, I'm giving you all the tea related to navigating and thriving in these real estate streets. If I can do it, guess what? That's proof that you can too. Everything's better with friends, so let's succeed together. Welcome to the Real Estate Bestie Podcast.
What up, besties? I am so excited and beyond the moon to introduce you to our special guest today. Krista may not know this, but I took a training of hers during the pandemic, and it totally changed the way I thought about video. And I thought that I was doing great at it, but her tips were a game changer, and she is just the queen of marketing, and I'm so excited to have her. Welcome, Krista Mashore. Hey, girl.
Hi, thanks for having me. I appreciate it so much. I'm super excited to be here, Rosemary.
Yeah, I am so excited to have you. Now, for our besties who may be living under a rock and don't know quite who you are, will you tell them a little bit about who Krista Mashore is?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say, Rosemary, that I love your energy and I adore you. And the way that you think about life and how your philosophies and your habits and your routines and your work ethic and how your mind is, I just love. Very similar to me. And I feel like we're like soul sisters and we didn't even know it. So I am now a real estate coach. I was in real estate for 17 years, top 1% realtor. My best year in real estate, I sold 169 homes myself as a solo agent with an assistant and a TC. I averaged 135 homes a year, every year that I was in business. And yeah, I consider myself an expert digital marketer. So I've utilized marketing and social media and video. Back when Facebook first came out, I went and flew and paid an expert like $15,000 to teach me how to run Facebook ads. And since then, I've just never quit. I believe in attraction-based marketing, kind of similar to you.
No, I love that. I love that. And you may be one of the first people that I heard say that, attraction-based marketing, because I know that your whole thing is, we don't have to do cold calls, open houses. It's really about showing up as yourself and intentionally marketing or making it so that your people find you. So I absolutely love that. I definitely want to get into the video marketing conversation. But before we do, this market looks a little different, right? And you and I know that the stat is that 87% of realtors, they say fail out of the business. I think that some people fail and some people decide, oh, this ain't what I thought it was and I don't want to be in it in the first 5 years. And we know that there was a huge influx of agents during the pandemic, and the market that they came into looks really different right now. And I think that a lot of people are worried. So you have been around for a while. So just kind of what is your take on it, and what advice would you give any of our besties who are pretty nervous because they haven't seen what we are seeing?
And I really truly believe this, okay? I have students that have told me they've had the best years ever in this market right now, the best months of their entire business. Right now, so many agents are leaving the industry because of fear, right? And I believe this even more to be true now. What worked the past 5 years is not going to work the next 2, right? Mm-hmm. I believe that open houses do work, cold calling works, door knocking works, but it doesn't work nearly as good as it used to. Because think about when somebody knocks on your door, what do? You hide, you run, you're afraid you're going to get, hijacked. When somebody calls you, you're pissed off because your phone's ringing and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a telemarketer. And door knocking, you can only do 1-to-1, right? So the thing I love about this market is that right now people are starving for information. They want to be educated. They want to know. Not only are our agents fearful, but humans are fearful, right? So the more that you can utilize what's happening in the market, negative and positive, and just educate people, that's going to help you stand out as the leader. So, and that's why I love video marketing, is because you can, number one, reach the masses. Like I can create a video. We average, over 500 hours of watch time on every single video that we create. We do that because we put an ad budget behind it. So we utilize the ads manager in Facebook. We run ads to our target area, which is basically the area that you live in, your city, right?
Yeah.
And then we keep targeting and retargeting people so that we show up where they're looking, and we give valuable information. It's information about what's happening in real estate, what's happening in the community. Is anything prolific going on? What are upcoming events that's happening? What's the market doing? I mean, my best watched videos are my real estate market updates, like talking about what's happening locally. Research shows that the more your content speaks directly to someone, the more local it is, the more it will convert. I mean, think about this. You are in real estate, right? And so what's the first thing you do, Rosemary, if you see a sign go up in your neighborhood?
In my neighborhood, I'm like, oh, how did I miss that? Like, like I'm hating a little bit. Like but not necessarily hating on the homeowner or the agent, but like, how did I miss that opportunity? And then this is funny. What I do is I will look and I will see if the agent sold them the house, then I kind of sort of a little bit give it a pass, because I can respect the longevity of relationship. But if it's not there, then I'm really mad.
See, I love what you just said. So a couple of things. Number one, so the first thing she does is she gets mad she didn't get the listing. And then she questions herself, how could I have done that better? Which is awesome. But the third thing she does is she goes and looks at the price. What are they listing it for? Because she wants to know, because she cares about real estate. Your community is no different. Everybody wants to know what's happening in real estate. That's why real estate shows next to food shows are the number one watched shows on television, reality shows and real estate shows. That's why there's like 16 different shows about real estate, because people are fascinated in it, So I just tell people is you're going to attract. Marketing is attraction. So that's all marketing is. And we unfortunately weren't taught how to be marketers. We weren't really even taught much about anything about running a business, or definitely not about marketing as real estate agents. We're taught things like how many square feet are in a mile, which who the heck cares? And I don't remember anyways, right? They don't teach us how to market ourselves. And I truly believe that marketing and innovation is the backbone behind any business. And we need to make it to where anytime somebody thinks about real estate in our community, we need to make sure that they are thinking about us.
Yes.
And so it's important who you know, but what's even more important is who knows you. So we've got to market ourselves. We got to make sure that we're getting out there, and there's no better way to do it than social media. And there's no better way to do it than video. And I know that a lot of people are afraid about video. They're afraid of how they look or how they sound. Or are they going to make a mistake? Are people going to like us? My nose looks big. I mean, I'm missing teeth half the time I'm doing my videos. My teeth fall out all the time, but I still do my videos, and people have told me, I actually hired you because you did a training with a missing tooth. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's so real. And so video is the best way for you to make sure that you are unforgotten. And I know if you're like me, there's been times where I'll be at Costco or I'll be at Walmart, and one of my old clients will come up to me and they'll be like, Krista, we're so happy we just bought a house. And I'll be like, great, but you didn't use me. And then I have to look at myself and go, how can you make sure that never happens again? And I can actually tell you a story about this. I think this will relate. So when the market crashed, I was opposite of what you did. I traveled the country and I got all these REO accounts. So I worked for 13 different asset management companies and REO accounts. I had Freddie Mac, Green River Capital, Nationwide REO Brokers. I had the HUD account. I had Wells Fargo. And so I sold hundreds of, actually like probably over 1,000 foreclosures. All of a sudden the market got better. So I had been selling foreclosures for about 5 or 6 years. My best year, I had sold 169 foreclosures in 1 year. And the market got better. And I went on a listing appointment and I didn't get the listing. And so I called and said, hey, I would love some constructive feedback. What could I have done differently? And they said, Krista, we really liked you, but the last guy called you a foreclosure queen. And I was like, I am a foreclosure queen. Like nobody knew who I was. I wasn't marketing my properties. I wasn't advertising because the houses would sell as quickly as you got them on the market because from investors. And I'd go to the work every day and there'd be like 3-4 new assets in my inbox and we'd get the listing. So I realized, oh my gosh, I have to completely transform how I'm doing business. And that was when I started, Rosemary, researching like what were other businesses doing? And I realized, okay, why is it that people will spend millions of dollars for a 30-second commercial during the Super Bowl? In fact, last Super Bowl, $7 million for 30 seconds. And the reason why they would spend that kind of money is because they want their brand to have awareness. They know that attention is currency, right? So I thought to myself, I'm going to become the best marketer, and I'm going to make it impossible for people not to know who I am. So I chose 2 neighborhoods, and I started creating video content way back when nobody was using video.
Right.
And I learned how to run Facebook ads. And then I also, on top of that, made sure I used Every Door Direct through the United States Postal Office. And I had I did a 90-day campaign where I would show up in their inbox, their doorstep, their front porch, their mailbox every 2 weeks. So digitally, I call it digital location domination. So digitally, they were seeing me all over their news feeds. Then they were seeing me in their mailbox. Before you knew it, I was up over 100 homes again a year within 12 months. And they were like 90% all traditional sales.
Right.
Just from this strategy. And the craziest thing is that I did this year after year after year. And I was like number 1 agent, number 2 agent in the county, where I always the number 1 agent in my city. Yeah. And people weren't doing it, and they're still not. And I'm just like, don't understand why people won't see what's working and emulate it. And the biggest thing I think that most agents are having trouble with, and sorry to monopolize the conversation, but is that they don't do it fast enough, right? Like we want results immediately. So they stop doing the thing. And in real estate, it's about a 6 to 9 month cycle that it takes.
It is continuous.
Yes.
It's continuous. It is definitely a marathon and not a sprint. And people think that, and I don't know, my experience is that you think you're going to post one video one time, and if it doesn't convert into 5 hot leads, you're done doing video. But the reality is that the algorithm and, all of the different things it has to be done continuously, just like any of our habits have to be done continuously. You just said so much that I just want to back up a little bit, because even when there was the recession, besties, that I was licensed for a brief stint, but then the market punked me, right? And I exited, stage left, went back to my teacher. Well, I never left my teacher career, came back in 2017. But look at the 2 different mindsets. I exited, and someone like Krista went and found opportunity, right? And you went and found opportunity, and you capitalized on that opportunity with REOs. You understood what problem banks were having getting all these houses off their books, and you found a way to insert yourself. But then when you needed to change the narrative, you also weren't afraid to go in and use video to change the narrative on how the public sees you. So I just think that just the way that, have you always thought like that? Because essentially I'm hearing a problem solver. I'm hearing somebody who is thoughtful about, okay, how do I need to pivot in different seasons? Has that always been natural to you? And for someone who that isn't quite natural too, what would you say to them?
So I don't know if you know a little bit at all about my story, but I haven't lived at home since I was 13. I had a really great childhood and then a not so great childhood. It was almost like I lived in 2 different families. I had a very loving father who's like one of my best, seriously, probably my best friend. And I had a very loving mother who was also very physically abusive. So when I turned 13, I started running away from home, and I ended up in juvenile hall for 3.5 months. And from juvenile hall, I got sent to a group home for troubled girls that I was there for a year. It was called Hidden Hills Group Home for Girls. There was nothing hidden about it. They dropped us off in a big, huge green bus every day. That was basically the big trademark or stamp that said that we're unworthy, unloving, like we got made fun of, chastised. It was horrible. And then from there, I got sent to a foster home, and I spent the rest of my time in a foster home. And then when I turned 18, after I graduated, my foster parents said, "Hey, we love you, but you got to go," because the money wasn't coming in anymore. So I had to get. It was like, I remember I had to get very resourceful very early on. Yeah. And I mean, when you're 18 and you're just told you got to go. I mean, I had no resources, no money, no nothing. And I just learned early, like, nobody's coming to save me. I have to save myself. And I knew that. And I had to really work on my mindset. Like I talked about mindset on my podcast earlier. Mm-hmm. Because when you have physical abuse from a parent, you never feel like you're enough. And you feel like you have a lot of self-doubt. And you're always kind of searching to be cared for and loved, I guess you would say, or to feel like you're valid and good enough. But working on my mindset is like, and also I believe my past, like what happened to me with my mom, like, and she's been so amazing in my healing, and she helped me heal and went to counseling with me and all that. But it made me realize that I had no other choice, right? I mean, I had to figure it out. And so I think it's really important in any career, like you have to adjust, modify, adapt, and shift. And I think that's what a lot of people do, they get, like we talked about, fear, they freeze. Fear is just, you're afraid of the unknown. You're afraid of what may happen. But research shows that most of the things that we worry about and think about, like never
happen. They
yeah,
never
like,
happen. Never happen.
So much of it never happens. We spend all this time worrying. And then like for me, I'm so weird about my mindset to where I don't even like to think about negative things, because then I'm like, I know I'm attracting that, because research shows that the neurotransmitters in our brains, they don't know the difference between reality and truthful, what we think. Like it's the same thing. And the brain activity is the same, whether you think about it or whether it's actually happening. So if you're thinking about all these negative things, you're actually attracting it. So I'm really cautious of, I call stop, snap, and switch. Like I have a negative thought, I like stop and notice it, snap the bracelet, and I switch the thought and I turn it around. I restate that negative thought into a positive one. So it might look something like, oh my gosh, you know, the interest rates right now are horrible and all these agents are leaving the industry. What if that happens to me? I'm going to recognize that and go, hey, agents are leaving the industry right now. That's an opportunity for me because there's less agents, right?
Exactly.
And now I can update people about how even the interest rates are a little higher right now. I mean, actually, it's more affordable to buy a house now than it was a year and a half ago, because people were paying $30,000, $60,000, $100,000 above, which means like if you put that on, they were spending way more now, and they can always just refinance. And if they wait, what's going to happen is that they're going to have so much competition, they're going to be paying way, way more again. They're back in the same position we were before. So it's just a matter of retraining my brain. I've had to learn to really take my thoughts seriously. My book, Stop, Snap, and Switch, it's called a Stop, Snap, and Switch, Train Your Brain to Unleash Your Limitless Life. Like literally, I train myself in every aspect, just like you. My habits, my rituals, my routines, my thoughts, because I know that what I'm thinking, that will turn into my actions, my rituals, and my routines. Those actions, rituals, and routines, which again stems from my thoughts, my philosophies, my thoughts, my beliefs, those all create my life, my outcome, my success, my output, or lack thereof.
I think that so often we are not aware that we truly do have the power to take our thoughts captive, right? I was thinking the other day, I was dreaming, like I was literally having a dream. It was one of those crazy dreams. I can't even remember all of the nuances, but it was just like this crazy thing happened and that crazy thing happened. And I literally remember like stopping myself and being like, wake up, like we're going to stop dreaming about this. You know,
was a negative one?
Yeah. It was like one of a crazy negative dream. And I woke myself up, because subconsciously I knew it was a dream, but I was just going with it. And that has happened to me as I am working on my mindset, as I understand the power of taking our thoughts captive, the power of renewing your mind on a daily basis. I will now even stop dreaming a crazy dream and like wake myself up and say, yeah, like, okay, we're not going to think about this. Like there are no midgets like coming to attack my kids, or, oh, I shouldn't say midget. It's not politically correct, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying.
I'm not in fun house, right? It's nothing crazy that I need to even allow happen on a subconscious level. We have the power to take authority over the way that we're thinking. And the more we know this, and I'm literally like, I've grown to know it even more in the past few years since I've been a real estate agent. But that is true. You know, I'll have a client, I never forget, I had a client that just told me like how she's just such a firecracker, and, you know, she will go off on a builder and I was like, well, if that's the way you think the transaction will go, then it will. If you think it'll go different, then it will. You know, like, I'm not saying that we won't have issue, but if you are already going into this thinking like, you know, thinking these really bold negative things, because there's a reason why there's been a pattern of this in your life, because you're showing up expecting it. So now you get what you expect.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I mean, it's like all of it is, it's so subjective. And people always think, I think people think a lot of times that I'm like rah, rah. And I'm like, there's nothing rah, rah about me at all. I've researched this stuff like crazy. That's why I told you about my Thrive, right? So this is something that I do every day. This is kind of similar to what your book ends, what you do in the morning and you do at night.
Yes.
So I want you all to try this, right? So a couple of things that I tell my students to do is, number one, like protect the first 3 hours of your day like it was your life. Meaning the first 3 hours of your day, you want to do what I call success sprints, where you set your timer for 30 minutes and you do one activity for one time for that 30 minutes. And you don't let anything distract you, not your phone, not emails, not text messages, unless that's one of the things that you're working on during that 30 minutes, right? And then if something comes to your mind, you write it down. Then after each 30-minute success sprint, you want to do what I call Thrive. And I do this before I get up out of bed in the morning. And the T stands for I give thanks. And I just give thanks, like I'm thankful to be on Rosemary's Wonderful Besties podcast right now, right? And even by giving thanks. Do you see how I just smiled, right?
Yeah.
Research
Yeah.
shows the positive effects from giving thanks last up to 2 weeks. And also, dopamine is released, the stress hormones decreased, so many things just from giving thanks. So that's what the T stands for in Thrive. The H is for happy. So I literally like make myself laugh out loud, like, ha, ha, ha. Like no matter where I'm at, I'll just make myself laugh out loud. People think I'm weird, but I don't care. Then just from laughing, the positive effects from laughter, you would not believe. Again, dopamine released, serotonin, all these great things, like both good and bad. It will, by just being happy and smiling and laughing, happen from that. So the R stands for resourceful. I tell myself I have anything and everything I need. I'm as resourceful as possible. I have all the resources in every aspect of my life to have the best life ever. Like literally, this only takes like 60 seconds to do, but the positive side effects from doing Thrive as often as possible, it's amazing. HTHRI stands for do it now. On my wall right there, it says do it now. So I take immediate action. So I is immediate. Research shows that action takers are money makers. Money likes speed. Wealth has a need for speed. So I make decisions quickly. I'm very decisive in nature. The V stands for visualize. Like I'll see myself being successful. Our brain doesn't know the difference between what you visualize, like the neurotransmitters, and what you're actually thinking about. So I'm always trying to see myself being successful. And then the E stands for I expect it. I have energy around it. I'm excited about it. Like that's Thrive. And so if you would do Thrive as often as possible, 3 or 4 times a day, 60 seconds is all it takes, 30 seconds in between your success sprints, and do like first 3 hours of your day, 8 to 11, tell your clients, hey, first 3 hours of my day, I am there preparing to get to, marketing for your home, doing all the back end stuff. So I don't take phone calls until 11 o'clock. If you have a massive emergency, text me, I'll answer. But I set up my day so I can be more successful and to give you better service. And this is what I do. Tell them about it. And then all of a sudden, now you've got your first 3 hours. Success breeds success. What gets celebrated gets replicated. Do your hardest thing first. I always tell my students to do 10 video text messages.
Yeah.
If they hate video, they do that first thing in the morning. Then they're thriving in between. Do you know what happens when you do the hard things first? Do you know what happens when you set up your first 3 hours like that? Your energy level goes up. Your stress decreases. You're not worried and thinking about the things that you hate doing. You're more productive. That productivity gets you more productive the rest of the day. Like, these are just little small things like what you do for your bookend, beginning of day, end of day, that if you just did, you would have an amazing business. Like in 30 days, if you just did that, 3 hours, thriving, 30-minute success sprints, I bet you anything, you'll all pick up 2 new clients.
I love that. I love that. So much gold, Krista. Like I'm going to have to make a flyer about Thrive. So I'm just going to call it, my admin team is going to be like, what? But rosemarylewis.com/Thrive. We're going to have it all written out.
I'll give it to you. I'll give you the PDF.
Okay, perfect. And then we'll have it.
So it even says 30-minute laser focus. So you're supposed to, I got this from something called the Pomodoro technique. And they use 20, it says that you will gain 16 hours a week if you just focus more. So basically they say 25 minutes. I like 30 because I like even numbers. So you just do one thing for that 30 minutes. Then you have to get up and take a 3 to 5 minute break. Okay. After
I follow Pomodoro. So I'm tracking with you.
After you've done 4 of those, so 4 30-minute success sprints, you take a 15 to 30-minute break. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, if I take a break, I'm going to get less done. It's not the case. Research shows that the break helps you, but also research shows that the more that we try to like multitask, the less we are able to get done and the less we're able to stay on task. So that is why the success sprint's working, because you're just working on one thing. I mean, think about how many times you've gone to buy something and then, you get the abandoned cart notice. Like you forget you were even going to buy the thing, right? Or you're like,
we get distracted. You get distracted.
It's like, did I even take that medicine? I mean, that's how distracted we are. So the more that we can train our brains to stay on focus, the more we can do the thriving 30 to 60 seconds. All those things are literally built to have you have a better, happier, healthier, wealthier, more abundant life. Each one of them, your life will be so different in 30 days. But problem is, Rosemary, is that most people are not willing to do those kind of things. Like it's the easiest thing to do, but most people are not willing to do what it takes to even like, they want the business, but they won't do what it takes to get the business. They want the result, but they won't do what it takes to get it.
We underestimate what it will take and overestimate our effort. And something like Thrive really like puts it in front of you, like what exactly are you doing with your activity? So I love it. Well, Krista, before I let you go, because I know that I'm just so grateful that you have blessed, like you are officially one of our our OG real estate besties. You've been in this business. So you're like our mentor now. In terms of video marketing, I have two quick questions. One question would be, in this market, if you had to think of, 2 points where our besties need to be creating content, what problems they need to be solving, what do they need to be speaking directly to? What are the 2 things that you would say they need to be speaking to in their videos?
Okay, so first of all, you have to know who your client avatar is and who you're going after to do that, right?
Yep.
And this is really important, everyone. Research shows that the more your content speaks directly to somebody, the more you will convert. And let me give you an example. Let's just say that I do a video that says it's a great time to buy a house. Interest rates are at all-time high. That wouldn't be the video, but you get the point. Let's just say I'm like, it's a great time to buy a house. There's not as much competition right now. Well, let's say I'm a veteran and I don't have very good credit and I don't have any money in the bank. I don't think I have the ability to buy a house, so I'm completely tuning you out. Okay, I'm not even hearing you because I don't think I can buy a house. So the problem that veteran has is they actually can buy a house and they don't know it. So I need to help them identify that problem. So what if I say this? Are you a veteran with no money in the bank and not the best credit? Do you know that you possibly could purchase a home because the government has programs available to you because you're a veteran? Thank you very much, by the way, for serving our country. Now all of a sudden it's like, I'm a veteran. I don't have what I can buy. Oh my gosh. Now I'm leaning in. Now my job is to educate you more. So what I would tell you is to figure out who you want to serve. Do you want to go after sellers or buyers? Do you want to go after a certain neighborhood or community? The best thing that I would do is I would pick a neighborhood or a community. I'd look at what the average days on market is, what the average sales price is, how many homes are selling in that area. I'd pick an area based upon that. I wouldn't pick an area based upon if I live there or not. Okay.
Right.
And is there already an agent who dominates? If there's somebody that already dominates, like they're selling 20% or more, I probably would pick a different area. Then I would start creating video specific content speaking directly to that neighborhood. Like, for example, I have a book that I wrote, How to Sell a Home in Deer Ridge and Shadow Lakes. That's a specific neighborhood. I have that book because that was one of the neighborhoods that I create video content on. Then I talk about the style of homes, the prices of homes, why in certain areas, certain homes sell for more or less. What are there things to do? I interview local businesses in the area. And then I create a funnel, a real estate funnel, where I take all that video content and I drive traffic with a QR code or a Facebook ad to that neighborhood specific funnel. And every single month I do a specific video that's a market update local to that community. Okay. That's the first thing that I would do and that's that's what I did when the market got better. And I went from selling 169 homes down to 12. And I realized, oh my gosh, nobody knows who I am. But when I did that back then, they didn't have video like they do now. I had to spend $3,000 and hire a videographer to do a 30-second commercial. And I had to spend $3,000 a month to put that video at the movie theaters. Now for $250 a month, I can reach hundreds of thousands of people locally. I can get hundreds of hours of watch time on my videos. I can target people locally and I can make sure that they know who I am. And whether they like me or not, research shows that the more they see you, the more they'll start to like you. So I just want to make sure I'm consistent. That's what I would tell everyone to do.
Perfect. And then the last question, Krista, is, even just saying Facebook ads can feel intimidating for a lot of people, just not knowing where to start. And if they don't necessarily think they have a budget. So where would you have someone start with creating these ads and things like that? Is that a resource you can help them with?
I've made millions of dollars on Facebook, like millions. There's one strategy that in 12 months time, just from one strategy, we were able to close 48 real estate seller transactions in 12 months from one strategy. And that was from running Facebook ads, targeted content directed towards sellers, doing informational videos about selling, and then targeting those people to a funnel that got their contact information, asked them if they'd like a market analysis, and then following it up with like a 9-step process that I do once somebody requests a CMA. 48 transactions just from that one thing. Now, we sold more houses in that year, but just from that one thing, because we track everything. Like everything we do, we track. So we were able to tell. I would just say, don't be afraid. They can go to my class.
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Yeah. KristaMashore.com/Rosemary. You can go to my 3-day virtual boot camp that goes over all this stuff in super, super great detail. And it would be like, it's $47. If you don't like it and think you get enough out of it on the first day, send me an email, I'll give you your money back. It'll be the best 3 days that you'll spend. I can guarantee it. We go over tons about marketing, video, social media, all that good stuff.
No, I love it. Well, Krista, we are so excited. We're going to send all of our besties to KristaMashore.com/Rosemary so that they can continue to just learn from your expertise. And I am a firm believer in, if someone has a proven roadmap, yes, you can go out and bump your head 1,000,000 times, or you can pay $47 and sit with someone who has done it, who can give you a proven roadmap. And we are just so grateful for you.
Thank you for having me, Rosemary.
If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.